Hello and welcome to Pockenrop. New year, new titles, new theme music, and Happy New Year to every one of you watching. It is the 1st of January 2022, and today's video is going to be me gazing into a crystal ball and dreaming up what I think may well happen during 2022 in the year of music. I'm going to kick off with things that are known to be coming. Then I'm going to move into things that I think are possible, a bit more conjecture on things that are less likely, but maybe, and also what I think might be coming from the realm of the Beatles over the course of the year. Before I do that, I'll remind you to like the video, hit the bell to receive notifications, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button. So let's kick off with things that are known to be in the pipeline or going to be coming during this year. Firstly, released next Friday will be the album Toy by David Bowie. So this is an album that he was working on in 2000 and completely shelved. It seems to be predominantly reworkings of really old songs that even predate his debut. Whilst this has already been released as part of the box set that came out right at the end of the year, covering everything from the Black Tie White Noise album through to the end of 2000, I think, it's being given a standalone release on Friday. So I am almost certainly going to get a copy of that. I will listen to it and I'll give you my thoughts in a video probably around about the 14th or 15th of January, once I've had time to listen to it more than once. A week later, Elvis Costello is releasing a brand new album with the Imposters, and it's called A Boy Named If. He released Hey Clock Face in 2020, which was fine, and Look Now came a couple of years before that, which is all right. So my expectation isn't massively high. I haven't loved any of his albums since probably All This Useless Beauty, but there's always been stuff to appreciate on them. I'm still hopeful, and I'm quite looking forward to hearing A Boy Named If, released on the 14th of January. Very good chance that there will be a video out on the 22nd of January with my thoughts about that album. Also in January, we'll see the release of Night Call by Years and Years. Now, my son has played me a few Years and Years tracks, and I found them quite enjoyable pop. This is the music vehicle for Ollie Alexander, the actor who was in It's a Sin. And having listened to bits and pieces of that last night on the New Year's celebration on BBC, he's got a great voice. I like pop. I'm going to give that a go. Guns N' Roses are releasing the first material that includes Slash and Duff McKagan since the Spaghetti Incident and the Use Your Illusion era. It's only an EP called Hard School, and the tracks are left over from Chinese Democracy, which was pretty much panned. But there's a possibility that the old Guns N' Roses magic might be there, and quite keen to hear that. On February the 25th, we will get a brand new Tears for Fears album called Tipping Point. Now, this is the first Tears for Fears album to feature both Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith since The Seeds of Love back in 1989. And it's going to be interesting to see if this album reaches the heights of that triptych of 80s albums from The Hurting, Songs from the Big Chair, and Seeds of Love. That comes out on the 25th of February. In March, Bryan Adams will be releasing a brand new album called So Happy It Hurts. His career's been somewhat hit and miss, but if this comes anywhere near close to the majesty and brilliance of Reckless, I'll be quite happy and quite enjoy it myself. Johnny Marr has got a new album coming up, which is called Fever Dreams, Parts 1 to 4. Quite intrigued to see what that sounds like. One of my favourite albums of the 2000s is 12 Stops and Home by The Feeling, which I think is glorious pop music and full of hooks and melodies and great singing. And they have singularly failed to come anywhere near close. I mean, subsequent albums have been, for me, borderline unlistenable. But I'm going to give it a go again. They've got a new album coming out in 2022 called Loss, Hope, Love. If that gets anywhere close to that debut, I'll be quite chuffed. And lastly, stretching towards the end of the year, and something that I only found out about back in October, it's not actually even got a release date yet, is an album called True North, which is going to be the 11th and newest album from Aha. Now, I love Aha. And Cast in Steel, which came out in 2015, is one of my favourite albums of the 2010s. Actually, it's probably my favourite Aha album. I think it's incredibly accomplished and musical. The fact that there is new music coming from Aha is delightful. It's already been recorded because I believe it was done as a live film and concert, but it's new music, not just a live covering of all of their old hits. It's been 6 years plus since Cast in Steel, so this is an early contender for the Return of the Year 2022 award that I'll be handing out at the end of the year. Moving into stuff that is less confirmed, i.e. it doesn't have a title yet or a release date, or is perhaps more in the realms of speculation based on what I've read on the internet. The Arctic Monkeys have a new album that is scheduled to be released in 2022. I'll certainly give that a go. Avril Lavigne and her latest album, which is 20 years on from her debut. The only reason I'm interested in this is my son has discovered the song Skater Boy and loves it. So let's give Avril Lavigne a go over the course of the year. There are consistent rumours that towards the end of 2022, we are likely to get a 9th album from Muse, which will be their first since Simulation Theory came out 4 years ago. I really like Muse, and this is a certain buy for me, even though Drones and Simulation Theory, and actually to a certain degree Second Law, are somewhat underwhelming. I'm hoping I'll be whelmed again like I was with things like Absolution, Black Holes and Revelations, and Origin of Symmetry, those classic albums from the noughties. And something else that I think is almost cast iron certain to happen is some more Taylor's version albums of earlier Taylor Swift records. So in 2021, she released Taylor's versions of Fearless and Red. I think from rumour, we're most likely to get 1989 next. And moving now out of the probable into the possible, I think, keeping with the theme, I think we might get something brand new from Taylor Swift that isn't re-recorded old material. Something that is definitely scheduled to happen is my first gig in years, and it's Keane at Cannock Chase for their In the Forest gigs. I'm really looking forward to this. It was postponed from June 2021, and one thing I think might happen is we might get some more new Keane music. I think it's been at least 3 years since Cause and Effect was released. It may be 4. They released an EP last year called Dirt, so they're still releasing stuff that's new. I wouldn't be at all surprised if round about May time we might get a brand new Keane record. And something else that intrigues me that may well happen this year is a Michael Stipe solo record. So Michael Stipe was the lead singer of REM. REM will never get back together. That's what they've said, that they're done, they're dusted. But back in December 2020, he was talking about he'd got material, and that's the last thing we've heard about it. Good chance that in 2022 we will see a solo record from Michael Stipe. Now on to the Beatle-related rumour and conjecture. One of the things the Beatles have been doing a lot of is anniversary reissues, particularly 50th anniversary reissues. So we had the 50th anniversary of All Things But Past last year. We also had the 50th anniversary release, although a little bit late because of the pandemic, of Plastic Ono Band. But 1972 was a pretty quiet year for things Beatle related. McCartney and Wings released a few singles. Harrison was more or less silent. The Concert for Bangladesh came out in 72 in the UK, but it had already been released in 71 in the US. Ringo released nothing. The only real notable release in 1972 from the Beatles was John Lennon and Yoko Ono's Sometime in New York City. The very strong rumours that that's going to get a 50th anniversary release. I can't say I'm looking forward to it. I have heard Sometime in New York City about 30 years ago, and patchy is the best I can say about it. Maybe I need to go back and re-listen to it and see whether or not I would be interested in a 50th anniversary. Many Beatle fans are fully expecting there to be a release of the full rooftop concert from the Get Back sessions. That was notably absent from the Let It Be box set. Something that is known to be coming in February is a half-speed master of Wings' debut album, Wildlife, released in December 1971. And that was announced on the 50th anniversary of the record. I'm torn about this album. I can't see it being a big seller, but it is good to know that the half-speed mastering campaign that comes from originally the re-release of Flaming Pie and has run through McCartney and Ram is continuing. I imagine they're basically just going to half-speed master each album as it hits its roughly 50th anniversary. So that'll be Red Rose Speedway in 2023 and Band on the Run towards the end of 2023. Wildlife is not an album that I particularly care for. I think side 2 is fine. Side 1, borderline unlistenable. So I really doubt that I will actually buy myself a copy of Wildlife in half-speed master for £30. In Beatle World, one thing I cannot imagine is going to go by unheralded is the 60th anniversary of the release of Love Me Do, their debut single. That was the 5th of October. Expect some news about that end of August into September. I fully expect that's going to get a remastered reissue as a 45 single. It's something that they did in 1982 and actually saw Love Me Do get to number 4 in the chart. It's not going to chart this time around, almost certainly not, but they're going to do something to commemorate the 60th anniversary of their debut single release. Love Me Do. Look out for that around about October the 5th. Another significant anniversary is coming up in Beatle Land, and that is June the 18th, and that will be Paul McCartney's 80th birthday. Now, there is no way that that's not going to cause something to be released. Now, the possibilities are twofold for me. One is we will finally get released on his birthday the archive editions of London Town and Back to the Egg, the final 2 Wings albums. There's some great material known to be out there like Waterspout and Cage and the final Wings sessions that took place in 1980. They could be absolutely fantastic packages, and I wouldn't be surprised if those are announced on his 80th. I would equally be not surprised if around about the same time we don't see a brand new Paul McCartney album. So he surprised us in 2020 with McCartney 3, but it's known that he was doing some work prior to the lockdown with Greg Kurstin, again, the man who produced Egypt Station and his touring band. I suspect there's been further work now that restrictions are more limited. I wouldn't bet against a brand new McCartney album in 2022, quite possibly again announced around his 80th birthday. So that concludes my gazing into a crystal ball for 2022. Let me know in the comments what you think might be coming up in 2022 or what you know is coming and you're looking forward to. One thing I think is pretty certain is going to happen is we're going to see a return of live music around the country as we start to take tentative steps out of the COVID-19 pandemic. But until next time, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you next week.